Let me read this to you. A person is as alive as they can and will create a vision and attain that vision. Also true. A person is as dead as they can't or won't do that. I hate to be brutally honest, but this is why I mastered this, and that's what I'm going to talk about. All right, so let's dive into this. And I see this like a goal template, and it's an example of how to create your best life. And I'm just going to walk you through mine, and you can use it as a template. All right, so first of all, I got to give you a disclaimer. I'm not a professional goal trainer, okay, or a motivational speaker or anything like that, okay? I write goals and I attain my goals, and that's all that it is. I'm sharing with you. I've worked with other people in the past that, maybe they were in my business and I helped them, but that's about it. And so someone commented on my last video and said, I don't even know where to start. And what I told them to do is write down what you really, really want, okay? And the person had basically, requested for help. So I'm going to undercut just the phrase, write down what you really, really want. That's what I'm going to do here. So these are my two sons, and I just asked this guy, he's 10, I asked him, what's your vision for Christmas? And he goes, what do you mean vision? And I said, well, what does vision mean? And he goes, well, it means to see. And I go, okay, good, awesome. So what do you see on Christmas? And let's make it a little better than that. How would you want it to be? And he goes, I don't know. I go, okay, so what's it been like in the past? And he goes, well, we have presents under the tree, and then we wake up early and we have to wait until you and mom get up. And then we have to wait until you start a fire. And then we have to wait until you have coffee. And then we can open our presents. And I go, well, what would make it better? What would be your ideal Christmas? And then he understood it, okay? And so we're talking about a week away, right? And so I explained it in a simple way like that, but in a conversation that's going to be about you attaining a bigger goal than just how to decide what Christmas is going to be like. That's the reason for this video, and I'm going to go deeper into it, all right? So, all right, how I create my future. Okay, so the very first thing, and I made this in kind of a step-by-step in the way that I do it, is I get out of my space. And what do I mean by my space? So inside of my office, I have everything organized from a prior decision. Everything that I do in there, where my monitors are placed, where my other Jamboard is, where my other computer that's purely for Zoom is laid out. Like all decisions have been made in that room. And so in order for me to adjust if I choose to, then I want to get out of that space. All right. So that's the very first thing. So mine's already full. My space is already full. I want to look, and here's what I look for. I want to look across a very large space. That's what I want to look for. And I want to see an object in the distance. So typically I go to Sundance Mountain Resort. I go up to the top of a mountain or something. I used to do it on a Navy ship, but the problem with that is that I couldn't see, like it's just pure space, right? You can't, you can't see anything other than the horizon where the water meets the sky, right? So if there's another ship out there, then I would have something to look at as an object, and I'll show you why I do that. So this right here would be just about the most perfect scenario for Tim to go and do this thing called a vision. All right, so I want to show you how I do this. So I'm going to be standing right here, and then I'm going to be looking up here. So this altitude is higher, and that represents me that I will become something greater. Okay? So that's what that represents. This distance, especially a road, I love because it represents all of the do that I'm going to have to do in order to attain that. Because right now, I'm standing here today and I'm looking out into the future that has distance. Okay? It has distance. And that is what the do is all about. So, here I am, and I know it's kind of small here, but here I am, and I'm looking towards that. And I, today, am looking at that. Okay, and I'm going to say that that's about 5 years out. Okay, much further than that, then I kind of, it's too flimsy. It's not tangible to me. So I take about a 5-year span. And so I'm standing here today doing this, and 5 years from now, that is what I want. Okay, so all of this is in my head, right? It's not yet here on earth. It's all in my head until I start walking the path. And so that's what that road represents, okay? So I'm running, right? I'm doing daily steps towards achieving that thing. Okay? Get this idea. All right. So now, the horizon is about 5 years, like I said. More than that's out of reach. I asked myself this simple question, what do I really want? Okay? It's a large, general question. Not tasks, not projects, not plans. Network marketing power was a result of this question. So there was a time when I said, what do I really want? And I said, and it was because I had gone to Google and I had Googled network marketing, and like the first 2 pages of Google were anti-network marketers or people who weren't even doing network marketing. And I was like, man, that's crazy. Like all of that misinformation is going out there and I can easily handle it. And so it was one of those things that was created from it. All right. So this is a wide, as I said back here, is that this is a large question. All right. And we're going to start large. So a wide view. So what do I really want? I could dream of a city life. All right. I love the city. The least. Okay. I could dream of a beach life. I love the beach. Perhaps a second home. Okay. Now, I could have also said boat life. All right. But it isn't logical in my situation. So I just left it with this. Okay. So what I decided is that I don't want that. This is a big step. When you take a big, wide view and you're looking at this, I don't want. This, I maybe want. Okay. So what we're trying to do is always get down to, I've already made that decision. Because that clears the path when you make that one thing. So that leaves me with the decision of that I prefer a farm life. And you got to look at the simplicity of that. So when you take a wide lens view, there really are only about 4 things that you could do, like places to live kind of thing. So you could choose city life, you could choose beach life, you could choose boat life, or you could choose farm life. And so I've wiped 3 of them off. And I can focus on one, right? So I prefer farm life. I'm more excited about it. And really, that's all that it takes. In other words, it's your life. Choose it. And sometimes, people say, I heard somebody make a comment one time and he said, if your why doesn't make you cry, then it's not your why. And I'm like, I don't know anything that I haven't dreamed of, decided that I haven't gotten. and never have I cried. That to me was like, no, you want to be enthusiastic. You don't want to be like in grief, crying, right? So it didn't make any sense to me. Sometimes I just set up a goal because it just seems like a fun game. All right. I wonder if I could do that. I wonder if I can make that team. You know, that's it. So if you're just excited about it, that's all that is required. Okay. So I imagine my best life. So just picture that you go to a place, high altitude, but there's a higher altitude out there. There's an object there, a mountain or something's what I always prefer, and there's distance. Okay. So in my imagination, right, daydreaming, I see the way I want it. I see images. I sometimes see movement. I see laughter. I see hair flying. Whatever it is, I see it as I'm viewing this. I imagine a river property against parkland. I see me and my family riding horses, ATVs, motorcycles, and going fishing and camping into far remote areas of the mountains. Okay, so I start seeing this. I'm dreaming it. I'm dreaming what I would want, right? I see me and my family harvesting apples, plums, cherries, berries, vegetables, and honey. I see taking care of our horses, cows, chickens, and goats. I see learning how to build cabins, shelters, and igloos. Do you see this? So I'm kind of like, I'm seeing my kids growing. I'm seeing what they're going to learn. I'm seeing what I'm going to learn and have to learn and want to learn. I see the fun that's going on. I see me and my wife homeschooling our boys as well as teaching them survival and how to use weapons for survival and security. Okay, so this is all about why I choose farm life. Right? So, because, you know, I kind of go, well, I remember I was talking to my wife when we were pregnant, she was pregnant, and I said, it just seems like the world's going crazy and I don't want to go with them. Like I want to get off the beaten path and have neighbors that are farmers also, and that we can have a community. That was the way that I viewed it. So now you see what I did. Now, right in the middle of that, I'm going to freeze the frame. I'm going to stop right there. And I'm going to grab a piece of paper and I'm going to sketch or I'm going to write. For an example, if I was going to write, this is what I would have written. Okay, so I feel incredible passion. I freeze my imagination and start sketching and writing. What am I writing? I'm writing this. Okay, that's what I would have done. A lot of times I sketch. When I get on an airplane, very often I'm sketching. Okay, so either one, I don't think it really matters. But at some point, you're going to need to write that vision. Because what am I really doing? I'm freezing some point in time in the future, and I'm saying this is what my life is. And so that is what's going to be on top of that mountain and who I'm going to become. Okay, so now, what happens now? Okay, this right here, what is this? All of this stuff right here are the components of my vision. These are the things that I have to get done. So I need to write every one of these things up. Okay, so how does that look? So that, I'm going to convert it to categories. Vision to goal transition. I'm transitioning from just in my mind into putting it here on earth. So I got to take each one of these items. Okay, so property, home, horses, tractor, stable, fences, ATVs, motorcycles, camping gear. How will I get the money for this? Okay, this is the cost category. This is the learn category. And so I'm extracting everything that's in here and I'm putting it into here into categories so that I can create a goal out of that. That makes sense, okay? All right, so the truth is that this was a 5-year goal. I got the property within 2 years, still working on some of the other. Farm was a little bit bigger scope than I ever imagined. I'll show you some pictures in a little bit. Okay. So now I take this and I separate it because this is cost. It's going to be my biggest challenge, the learning part. Well, I wouldn't have thought it would have been so tough, but I did find some difficulty in that. But I'm going to carve this off and say, all right, how much is that going to cost? And so I estimated back then about $1 million. Okay? All right, so how am I going to do that? How will I get the money? How will I live the lifestyle but away from the city? Most of the time, people can't live in the farming world and generate a lot of money because, by and large, the farming industry in America is a difficult game to play, really difficult, all right, because they're getting compensated, they're getting paid to not farm, to throw away their harvest, and they're importing it from other countries. Seems suspicious to me. Learn. Okay, so I got to learn about horses. I got to learn about barns and stables and cows and chickens and bees, how to grow and harvest food, how to homeschool. All of these things I'm going to have to learn, right? So, well, what are we going to do about that? Well, I'm going to get some local recommendations here, and if I can't find it there, I will search online for people who can do this. Maybe do a community college, maybe do a college, whatever it takes. All right, so I'm going to join homeschool communities and find out what are the best books, what are this, what are that, how do you do it, how do you set your timetables, all that stuff, okay? So now you can see that and a lot of people don't do this. They write their goals and they feel done. It's like, right? No, that's when you get to work on it and you start breaking it down. All right, so that $1 million goal through network marketing, I've got to lay that out now, okay? So, all right. So this is just an overview, all right? And I want you to view it that way because I'll go into deeper videos on it, but you have a finance plan and you have an education plan over here, and you'd break it down into projects, several, and then under each project, you're going to have tasks and activities to do. Okay? And that's how you end up getting it done. But I just wanted to give you that picture, and the same thing in the education side of the table, so that you have this game plan, that your template. Because if you just function off of tasks randomly, you've got utter chaos. You've got no direction. You've got no way of saying, you know what? I tried that for 5 weeks and it didn't work. Okay, so how can I alter that? Because if you're doing random stuff, you say, man, I work all the time. I generate a lot of leads, but nobody wants to do it. And these generalization phrases, and you never learn from your experience. Okay, so that's the reason I like to lay these things out like this. So this was, I guess, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, something like that. So he is a little bit older than him. He's now 5 and he's now 10. So he's, 1 or so, and he's probably about 4 or 3 in that picture. Okay, so you can kind of see that I love this. This is the way in my world a boy should grow up. And I want you to notice also this thing right here. This is a berry patch. These are raspberries, and they were just planted. And he's eaten more dirt than the plants are. So here's the cherry trees. Remember in that thing, it said I want cherry trees. This is the berry patch right here. So my son was sitting right here when you saw him there. But now there's, robust berry trees. cherries, and this is our attempt to somehow try to figure out how to get arugula to grow from seed. And we got it to grow, but we couldn't get it to continue. Not yet, but we don't stop. There's the river in the backyard. It butts up against parkland on a couple of sides. And so that's that. So that's the house. Not a big, grandiose house. I didn't want it. I had been in big houses before, and I didn't like it. There were rooms in my house that the only person who ever saw it was the housekeeper. And it was ridiculous. And I was like, what a waste. And so then here is both of my boys. This is when we jumped on the ATVs and the motorcycles and we went up into the mountains, and they're eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And I just had to snap a picture of it because it was a moment in time. And for those of you who have gone out and like been riding for a long time or something and you stop, there is just nothing better than a peanut butter sandwich. But anyway, and so then that's my wife. She converted. She was a beach girl. And she absolutely loves the living on the farm. So then this is me and my older son. We're up at the top of the mountain. We started, took that picture out, but we started, and it's like no snow or anything like that. It's almost summer, and but in the mountains it wasn't, and so it's real muddy and kind of boy stuff, right? So there's the fishing pole up into remote areas, camping. I was coming back from fishing one night, and there's a pond right here. This is my house, and there was a moon, and it was like incredible. Here's a shelter. We call it TNT, Tim and Tristan, TNT shelter. And then my wife and I dress up when we want to and go out and do the city thing, and then come home, right? So I just want to walk you through how you take this vision, right? You're sitting here today and you're going to look out and you're going to say, I really want this. Okay? And it may just be an extension of where you are. I'm not telling you to change. I'm just suggesting to you when you get a moment to say, I want this, I want more of this, or I want something completely different, or I want something just a little different. Okay? Some people may be making $150,000 a year, $200,000 a year, and they go, but I want to do it without having to work every day of my life. If I could do it for 3 or 4 years and have some residual income, man, that would be valuable. And so you're still like pushing it, but you just change to a little bit different. Okay? So, but you push from where you are here, you push out and you say, I want to be that. Okay. You're going to break that down into a 5-year goal and then divide it by 5. To your 1-year goal. And then you're going to break that 1-year goal down into 4 units, 90-day goals. And then you're going to set your daily actions. Okay, that's where we're going. There are reasons why people can't get these things done. And I'm going to walk through it. I'm going to explain it. I'm going to break it down. And if you do the activities that I tell you to do, you'll bust through it. Okay, so that's... I've done it a lot of times. So now I'm going to strongly urge you to not miss this next video that I'm going to do next week. Okay? Because it is my ultimate hack. And I couldn't believe it when I figured it out. I literally laughed. I can't even tell you how long I laughed. And, but it is the basis of the excuse manufacturing machine. And so, do not miss next week's video. And then also, please tell me your thoughts on this video. All right. So was it helpful? And how do you do it? If you do it different, I'm willing to learn from anybody. And so do you do it differently? How do you make it? And do you reach your goals? Okay. Do you attain those goals? So if you like it, please like and share the video, and then Don't forget this Telegram channel. We have a lot of good conversations that are going on there. And if it hadn't been for that, the person couldn't have messaged me and say, hey, Tim, I don't even know where to start in writing my vision. So I'm very glad that they asked me that question so that I could undercut this video, because I find this to be something that I want my kids to watch. So thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.